Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Aperio, and this is Clear History 2, American Exceptionalism Explained and Evaluated. The term American Exceptionalism is frequently bandied about by politicians and pundits, but infrequently explained and even less frequently scrutinized. What does it mean, and is it true? Let's consider it so that you can decide for yourself. Labeling something as exceptional doesn't only mean that it's different, an exception to the rest, but also means that it's better. An exceptionally good donut isn't only different than other donuts, but it's better. American exceptionalism is therefore the belief that the United States is not only different than other countries, but better. Specifically, American exceptionalism is the notion that the United States is both unique and superior in its origins, development, and in its social, economic, and political characteristics. American exceptionalism is shorthand for the United States is the greatest country ever to have existed. Among the arguments of American exceptionalism is that the United States has more liberty and freedom of opportunity than any other nation in the history of the world, that the United States is the world's oldest constitutional republic, that the land which became the United States was settled by people seeking freedom of thought, speech, and religion, and who created a country which embodies those values. That the United States was founded by people who were committed to individual liberty and who designed a system that prioritized political freedom above governmental authority. That the story of America is an epic of expanding participation in government and a tale of protecting freedom at home and abroad. That the United States saved Europe and the world from 2 catastrophic world wars, then saved humanity from nuclear holocaust by maintaining peace through strength during the Cold War, then by winning the Cold War. That the United States is a technological mecca, that students flock to American universities, that so many people want to emigrate to the United States because its standard of living is the highest and its opportunities are the most plentiful. That the United States has the world's largest economy, highest GDP, and the Earth's most powerful military. For all of these reasons, then, the United States is exceptional among countries and superior to them all. Without agreeing or disagreeing with American exceptionalism, we can still critically evaluate its claims. According to the Heritage Foundation, in economic freedom compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranks 12th. According to Reporters Without Borders, in press freedom compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranks 49th. According to the United Nations Human Development Index, which scores countries based on life expectancy, literacy, child welfare, and quality of life, compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranks 5th. Freedom is impossible without education. According to publishing company Pearson, which scored education systems, compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranks 14th. The role of women in a society is a barometer of freedom. According to the Inter-Parliamentary Union's report, which measured women's participation in national parliaments, which includes the American Congress, compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranked 72nd. Freedom of opportunity is best understood as social mobility, which is the potential people have to advance their economic class. According to a study by economist Miles Korak, in social mobility compared to the rest of the world, the United States ranks 6th. Social mobility in an economy is linked to wealth distribution. According to inequalityforall.com, using data from the Global Wealth Report, compared to the rest of the world in wealth inequality, the United States is the 4th most unequal country in the world. Based on the data, the claim that the United States has more liberty and freedom of opportunity than any other country in the world is objectively false. The world's oldest constitutional republic is San Marino, a tiny country located within Italy, which is older than the U.S. by about 1,400 years. However, the United States is indeed governed by the world's oldest written constitution. While Pilgrims and Puritans left home seeking freedom of thought, religion, and speech, the settlers in Jamestown sought profit, not liberty. So the earliest English settlers pursued both money and freedom. And, though the Puritans sought freedom of religion, thought, and speech, they firmly denied such liberties to dissenters living in their new colony. The Founding Fathers drafted the current Constitution because the freedom allowed by the preceding framework, the Articles of Confederation, produced weak government, social instability, and dangerous foreign contempt. While it's true that the Founders enshrined vital liberties in the Bill of Rights, the Constitution intentionally prioritizes order above liberty, which was considered a necessary antidote to the chaos experienced under the Articles of Confederation, which maximized liberty. And, of course, regardless of the limits of freedom for white Americans, the liberty-loving founding fathers permitted people to be enslaved within the borders of their new country. It's true that people's ability to participate in government expanded as America developed. If landless people, poor people, women, black people, Native Americans, and other marginalized groups were granted participation at the outset, then expansion wouldn't have been necessary. The United States was not exceptional in initially restricting office holding and voting rights to white men who owned property. The United States was exceptional, however, in being one of the last countries on earth to abolish slavery, and, unlike the other countries that abolished it late, required a destructive war to do so. Although Americans certainly characterized their military conquests of Native Americans, Mexico, Cuba, and the Philippines as protecting liberty, the losers and victims of those conflicts disagreed. It's unquestionable that American involvement determined the outcome of both world wars. It also seems true that only American military strength prevented the Soviet Union from invading more of Europe than it did, especially in the immediate aftermath of World War II. Soviet communism was a soul-crushing system, and the United States deserves credit for containing it while avoiding nuclear war, and in doing much to end the Cold War peacefully. However, in doing so, the United States supported cruel and vicious dictators as long as they were anti-communist, overthrew elected governments, attempted to assassinate foreign leaders, created a wasteful, invasive national security state, and exacerbated murderous, destructive conflict in Korea, Vietnam, Central America, East Timor, Laos, Cambodia, and elsewhere. America was indeed the world's policeman, and while preventing the ultimate crime of nuclear war, the United States was often a crooked, violent cop. For many in the world, the United States is their perfect home or destination. For them it represents, regardless of any imperfection, some place better than where they are. Yet that is also true of Canada, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, the UK, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, Austria, Switzerland, Japan, South Korea, and other countries that are free, wealthy, and whose commitment to social welfare and economic equality far exceeds that of the United States. That the U.S. is the world's largest economy and has the highest GDP is true, but, as the data show, that doesn't translate into freedom or economic opportunity. The size of your car doesn't matter much if it doesn't take you to where you want to go. And, despite the awesome wealth of the United States, the data show that only a tiny percentage benefit from it. Truly, the United States military is the world's greatest by any measure: resources, effectiveness, and technology. American soldiers and sailors deserve respect and gratitude for volunteering for activities and making sacrifices that most of us can't even imagine. The U.S. military is everywhere, at over 600 bases around the world. While Americans would never tolerate a foreign base within their borders, Germans, Italians, British, Japanese, Iraqis must live with that circumstance. Despite fears about the growing military power of China and Russia, the truth is that the United States is the most military aggressive country in the world. Over the past 25 years, the United States has invaded Iraq twice, invaded Afghanistan, and become militarily involved in Somalia, Yemen, Libya, Syria, Kosovo, Bosnia, Haiti, Central America, Colombia, and so many more. Further, the United States is the world's largest arms exporter, providing the weapons to ignite and to fuel global conflicts. The military is a tool, and, like any tool, its dimensions and characteristics matter less than how it is used. Like Australia, New Zealand, and all the countries of the Western Hemisphere, the United States was founded by European settlers after vanquishing and dispossessing native peoples. Like Russia and China, the United States expanded its territory through military and economic conquest. Like the Dutch, Spanish, English, and Portuguese, the United States was active in slavery and the slave trade. Like England and France, the United States gradually enlarged voting rights to its citizens throughout the 19th century. Like Australia, Denmark, Canada, and others, the United States granted women universal suffrage in the 20th century. Like South Africa, the United States maintained an oppressive system of racial apartheid, which only ended 50 years ago. American exceptionalism claims uniqueness, and the United States is unique. But so is Greece, so is France, so is Ethiopia, and so is Nepal. Just like every person is unique, so too is every country. But just as people are similar to one another, so too are countries similar to one another, with the similarities of history, politics, economics, and attitudes more prominent than any uniqueness. American exceptionalism claims greatness, When confronted by data and by history, some elements of greatness are objectively supported, others objectively contradicted, while others are clearly debatable. Greatness is a relative term, and ultimately it's up to you to make up your own mind whether or to what extent it applies to the United States. Proponents of American exceptionalism tend to accuse people who don't share their beliefs of being unpatriotic or un-American. In doing so, they are adopting the all-too-American intolerance for divergent thought, which began with the Puritans. Nevertheless, it's equally American to assert intellectual independence and to love the United States, to be patriotic, without agreeing that it's the best, the greatest, and superior to all others. Blind patriotism is no virtue. So, that's American exceptionalism explained and evaluated. Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and thank you for watching. Till next time.